Hey. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of BizBuzz Live. I'm your host, Chris Muzan, talking to you all things finance, all things money. We got a good conversation today. We've been having these conversations over the past couple of weeks, specifically about what's happening in the economy, what's happening in the job market. We're seeing layoffs. We're seeing all types of industries be impacted. Wouldn't you want to know the skills that will help you to never be replaced? Wouldn't you want to know the skills that help you never have to worry about losing your job ever again? Pay attention. That's what we're talking about today. Stick around. All right, y'all. What's up? Welcome back to another episode of BizBuzz Live. Again, I'm your host, Chris Muzan, helping you through all things finance. Again, thank you for everyone that's been watching the show, everyone that has contributed, everyone that has sent a message, everyone that has dropped a comment. I appreciate it. As always, feel free to share these BizBuzz Lives with people that you know may need to hear it. They're in a transition. They're thinking about the next career move. You're here live on LinkedIn, and you see somebody that is looking for their next position, right? The old open to work banner. Send this to them. Let's have these conversations around what we really need to do. 'Cause sometimes we just get stuck in the matrix, right? We just get stuck in the habit of doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's the definition of insanity. And that's not what we're here to do on this Biz Buzz. The reason why we started this show, for all of you that are just getting tuned in with us, is because myself being here in the financial space for 13, 14 years, helping people in their financial life and picking up the hood under their financial life and tweaking and tuning up and seeing where things can change. Whether people come to me talking about their investments or talking about their savings or their debt or their insurance or whatever the conversation is, inevitably we have to have a conversation about their cash flow, what comes in and what goes out. This is where everything starts. Uncle Dave Ramsey says that our ability to earn money is the beginning stages of the rest of our financial life, right? So your ability to earn money. Most of us have been taught how to earn money in one way. We've been taught go to school, get some higher education, get a good job with benefits that'll pay you a good salary, that'll give you a good work-life balance, and just have that job for the rest of your life, and it should pay for the lifestyle you want. That's what we were told. Hence why a lot of people are frustrated, right? I have more and more of these financial conversations with people. And the reason why a lot of people are frustrated financially or financially panicking is because we've had the wrong expectation. That could also be it. We've had the wrong expectation for how we're supposed to make money, how money is supposed to come in, what it's supposed to look like. And so that's what the show is about is, hey, let's redefine this. Let's talk about what industries are growing or dying, what skill sets are needed, what business models work. Should you work the gig economy? Should you start more of your own thing? Should you continue to job hop knowing what AI is doing? And should you continue to bounce around? All of those are conversations that I know you're probably trying to figure out yourself. You're probably having the conversation with your parents or your coworkers or right people that are close to you about what you can do. But feel free to drop a comment today. Feel free to, if this topic resonates with you or these are things that you've been thinking about, then drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me a message, shoot me a DM. More than happy to have a conversation with you. But if you want to know the skill sets, ladies and gentlemen, that'll help you not be replaced moving forward, that'll help you continue to make money for you and your family. Luckily, right, they always say put information into a book or into a research paper or something, and people will never find it because most people don't read. But the World Economic Forum, about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, actually almost 2 years ago now, created at their World Economic Forum, they created a little, I don't know, a sheet that talked about what are the skill sets that are going to be needed to stay marketable, to stay in a job over the next 5 years or so, right? So these are the skill sets that we have to learn, our children have to learn in order for us to be able to get to the place where we're employable, where we have skill sets that are employable. These are what employers are going to be looking for. Now, this is to piggyback off of the conversation we had last week, which is what are schools teaching? What are the reasons? Even K to 12, we don't even have to have the college conversation on this episode, even though we can have it of what's the ROI of college these days and what's the ROI, right? How much funny conversation, man, talking about the ROI of college. I was having a conversation yesterday with some students locally, and they were pitching for a high school entrepreneurship class, and we're having a conversation. A couple of them came up to us afterwards, some of the judges, myself and a couple other people, and was asking us just a few questions. One kid had a question about like school loans and like what he's going to do. He was so sure. This kid was 17, 18. He was so sure of his next 8 years, like into his 20s. Like he was so sure he was going to go to school for 4 years. He was going to get this college degree in, I want to say it was like cyber something. I don't know, maybe information technology. I don't know, something like that. He was going to get his 4-year degree. And then after that, he was going to go to the military. He was going to go into the Air Force for 4 years, and he was going to get a better paying job than if he didn't have the 4-year degree. And so that was his next 8 years. And he said, coming out, he could probably get a job that would bring him about $4,000 a month. And I said, great. We were talking to me and another lady who's in banking. And he was like, great. Are you taking out loans to go to school? And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, how much debt are you going to have at the end? He said, probably somewhere around $90,000 of debt. I mean, with interest, right? And he's like, probably close to like $100 some thousand dollars of debt. And then I'll just go to school and da-da. And he said it so nonchalantly. He said it so like, oh yeah, 90,000, 100,000. And those conversations, I'm in someone's school, so I tone down this type of conversation. I don't dissuade people from going to school. I know the school's purpose is to get you to go to college. I get it. So I'm not here to dissuade or change the agenda. But the advice I did give this young man was like, you really have to pay attention to how much debt you're coming out of school, like you're coming out with. Debt is not something that you want to have as you start your career. And I said, if you come out and you make $48,000 a year, that's $4,000 a month, and you got 90,000, 100,000 in debt, you'll never pay that off. We're watching it happen. It becomes like you don't even make enough to pay a fraction of that every year, right? You don't make enough, like with living expenses and all the other things, you don't even make enough to pay a fraction of that. That's why you're gonna stay in debt for a long time. And I was like, you really got to pay attention to the amount of debt you're taking out. And he kind of understood, but kind of not, because kids don't understand money. And so it's another kid that's going to go off and be stuck in the system, be stuck in the $90,000 debt, $100,000 debt cycle with a degree that pays $50,000 a year. It sucks. We just watched this again. This coming off of the conversation we had last week about, what are our students actually learning? K to 12. I saw another video this week that I don't know if you saw it. It went viral, but of a kid at a school, I think is a school in Philadelphia, that is showing a couple students a sentence to read and asking them to read it. And the words that they were stumbling over were words like extraordinary and silhouette. Right? They struggle to read those words. Another word, like another sentence, they were struggling to comprehend. They were saying a basic sentence, nothing too hard, basic sentence, and then asking, what does that mean? And having someone be able to explain it to them, or them be able to explain it in using different words than what's on the card, explain what that means. And they couldn't. They would just rearrange the same words and say it again. So not only do we have a literacy issue of like reading, of actually reading the words, sounding out the words, phonics, But we also have a literacy issue from a comprehension standpoint of learning how to comprehend what it is that I'm reading. This next generation is struggling. And this is what we just talked about last week. What are our kids actually learning? And if they're not learning the basics, how to read, how to comprehend, what are we setting them up for? So the World Economic Forum a couple years ago said that these are the skills that you're going to need to be irreplaceable. We could be talking about our kids. We could be talking about you. You want to switch jobs, switch careers, switch career paths. You want to make more money. You're tired of making $22 an hour. You're tired of making $19 an hour. You're tired of getting paid $42,000 a year. You're tired of getting paid $53,000 a year. That's you. You need these skill sets. This is what literally they said we're going to need for skill sets in order for us to be successful. They gave us 10 of them. Just one full year ago on BizBuzz, I talked about these specific skill sets. We did 3 or 4 weeks worth of episodes talking about these specific skill sets. So I'm going to bring them back up for you. I'm going to share them with you so that you understand this is not going anywhere. And this is probably where we should be pointing our kids. This is where you should be pointing yourself into these skill sets. So 10 core skills. I'm going to read them off for you. Number 1 says analytical thinking. Analytical thinking. This is identified as the most crucial skill, emphasizing the ability to analyze information and solve complex problems. Analytical thinking. Number 1 core skill. Number 2, creative thinking. Valued for innovation, right? The creative thinking. Number 3, resilience, flexibility, and agility. Resilience, flexibility, and agility. Essential for adapting to change and recovering from setbacks. How much is this next generation that? How much is this next generation resilient, flexible, agile? How flexible and resilient are you? Good question. Number 4 said motivation and self-awareness. These are skills. These are core skills. Skills are learned behavior. This is not talent-based. This is skill-based. This is a skill set. You can learn a skill set. The World Economic Forum is saying these are the skill sets you need to know to be successful, to not be replaced. So motivation and self-awareness, the importance for personal growth and proactive behavior. Number 5, curiosity and lifelong learning. A skill, curiosity. Did you ever see curiosity as a skill? Do you know that the more curious your kids are, the more they ask questions, the better it is for them? The less you ask questions, the less curious you are. The more you say, I know how it's going to be. I know how it is. I remember how it was. The less curious and lifelong learning you're doing, the less adaptable you are to making money in the next 5 years. That was number 5. Number 6 is technologically literate. So understanding and leveraging technology. This is why all of you need to be using AI. It's not because, you're using it for some grand reason other than the fact that you can't beat technology. I think Jay-Z just said that in an interview he did, right? Like you can't run faster than technology. You can't go against technology. It's moving fast. The future is coming. So you got to get literate. You got to at least learn how this works. Imagine you never learned how LinkedIn worked, or learned how YouTube worked, or learned how any of these social platforms work. How would you be able to communicate? How would you be able to get the news in 2026? You still would watch it on television? What if you didn't know how to sign up for a subscription service? Technologically literate. That's number 6. Number 7 is dependability and attention to detail. Dependability and attention to detail. Again, think of this next generation, man. All of the business owners that I know, the number 1 complaint is they can't find good people to work. They can't find good people that are dependable, that show up, that care, that have an attention to detail. I saw a video of a guy running a barbecue restaurant, and he's talking to his staff saying, he's the owner. Now he's got people working for him, and they're not paying attention to that attention to detail. He's like, if we see some food, some ribs that don't look good, take them off the line, put some new ones on that are supposed to be sold the right way. that attention to detail is important. It's critical for consistent and precise work. Number 8 said empathy and active listening. Empathy and active listening, a key for effective communication and teamwork if we're going to work in teams. Number 9 is leadership and social influence, the ability to guide teams. Do you have a leadership ability? Have you listened to any John Maxwell? Do you know what it means to be a good leader? Do you practice being a good leader? And then number 10 said quality control. Quality control. Ensuring products and services meet quality standards. Do you know how to pay attention to quality? These are 10 core skill sets that the World Economic Forum said you need to use, you need to adapt in order to become irreplaceable, in order to not be replaced by a machine, by a company, by anything. 10, analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility, motivation and self-awareness, curiosity and lifelong learning, technological literacy, dependability and attention to detail, empathy and active listening, leadership and social influence, and quality control. Those are the 10. Question, how many of those are skill sets that you pride yourself on? How many of those are skill sets you pride yourself on? You're like, I know I'm good in these areas, in this area. Is it the analytical thinking? Is it the creative thinking? Are you doing that at your current job? That could be a reason why you're not making money. Better question, how many of these do you actively have to show at your job? How many of those 10 are you actively showing? Analytical thinking, creative thinking, resiliency, flexibility, motivation, self-awareness, curiosity, and lifelong learning, technological literacy, dependability and attention to detail, empathy and active listening, leadership. How much of these are you practicing at your job? Because these are what's going to get you paid over the next 3, 5, 7 years. These skill sets. Back to the conversation we had last week. What are we teaching our children? Are we teaching our children these things? Do they know how to critically think more than they did before? Are they learning empathy and active listening? Are they learning leadership, social influence? Are they learning how to be dependable, how to be resilient, how to be agile, how to be flexible, how to be on time, how to pay attention to detail, how to be creative? Like, are they teaching our kids these things? Because this is what the World Economic Forum said will get them successful, will get them to have a job, will get them to not be replaced. Is that in our school curriculums? Are we learning empathy? Is that a part of your public school curriculum? You know the answer is no. Is creative thinking a part of your public school curriculum? You probably say that answer is no. Kids aren't being more creative than they were when we had to have a pet rock, when we had to play with dolls and toys and make up things, right? And so if we're going to talk about making money, we're going to talk about learning how to earn money so we can learn how to save it and invest it and do all the other things. If we're going to learn how to earn it, then this becomes a part of learning how to earn it. Understanding, well, what skill sets do I need? I was talking to someone, they were talking about, right, the kids in China, that are so well equipped for the future. They're so well equipped for learning a skill. They're well equipped for selling and business. They're just equipped for lots of things because they had 50 to 75 years of not being equipped. 50 to 75 years of their society not being at the top, not being advanced, people getting used, not having a lot of money. All of those things. So they've had to adapt and learn what will make their children successful. What type of education? What things do they need to learn? How quickly do they need to learn them? What do they need to put in practice? They learn this as a society from being down. Well, we might need to learn that as a society of what do these kids actually need? What do you actually need to go make money? What skill sets do you need to be irreplaceable? What's really funny about this entire list of all these 10 things that I shared with you, analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, motivation, curiosity, dependability, all those things, you know what they are? They're entrepreneurial traits. They're traits of the entrepreneur. They're traits of the person, of the people that choose to take ownership of their life and choose to add value, choose to grow business in a way that adds value to society, adds value to a group of people so that they receive value back in the form of money, right? That's business, exchange of value. All those skill sets are entrepreneurial skill sets. Those are skill sets. If you're going to get those skill sets as a child, you're going to create a bunch of entrepreneurs, right? If you instill in children analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility, motivation and self-awareness, curiosity and lifelong learning, technological literacy, dependability, attention to detail, empathy and active listening, leadership and quality control. If you gave skill sets to children around those areas, they'd all become entrepreneurs. They'd all take ownership of their life. They wouldn't give that away. Some might for high pay, right? But most would not give that away. They won't give it away. They'll use it to build wealth for them and their family, to learn how to earn money. That's what we're here to do. We're going to keep going into these 10 skill sets because I think it's important, piggybacking off of the conversation we had last week of what are our kids actually learning. Watching some of the content come out this week about kids not knowing how to read and not being able to critically think, and what's happening in our school system, and educators being tired and parents being tired and kids not learning and all the things. And yet we want to go make money. We want to keep complaining about how the economy, the price of everything is going up and we're not making money. Let's just go back to learning how to earn money. I'm not telling you what's happening in the economy is right. None of it's right. It is what it is. But what we can control is our ability to earn. And that's where we have to learn. That's where we have to teach our kids. That's where we have to teach our society how to earn money. The things that are going to make you irreplaceable is what I just shared with you. These 10 things that the World Economic Forum said are skill sets you need to create. If you don't have these skill sets, it's going to be a struggle. If your kids don't have these skill sets, it's going to be a struggle long term. We need to pick a few of them and you need to get good. Analytical thinking, critical thinking, right? Creative thinking, resiliency, flexibility, agility, motivation, and self-awareness, lifelong learning. These are skills you got to learn. We got to instill them in our kids if we want to get better. So another BizBuzz Live. We're live every Friday here on LinkedIn, here on YouTube. Again, feel free to drop your comments. What skills are you working on that are on this list? What skills are you practicing that are on this list? What skills have you acquired already through your job that are on this list? What skills have you not acquired? How do you get this to your children? How do you get this to the next generation? If you are trying to make more money, keep more of the money that you're making, invest more, save more, pay off debt faster, build wealth faster. It starts with your cash flow. What comes in, what goes out? How do you earn money faster? How do you learn how to make money? That's what we got to go learn to do. That's what I'm here to help you do. Hey, we got some really cool stuff coming up. Stay tuned. Next week, I'm going to roll out our school community that we just created. We just created a school community. It's going to be awesome for all of you that want to continue to get your financial life in order. You want to do a little DIY, but you want a little bit of this one-on-one. We're going to give you some monthly calls that you get a chance to be a part of, some one-on-one calls you get a chance to be a part of to fix your finances, ask your financial questions, and ultimately go in and fix your financial life, get you to the life that you don't need a break from. So I'm happy to do it with you every Friday. BizBuzz Live. Until next week, y'all, stay well.